Hey everyone, it's your girl Sierra. Welcome back to my channel. So today is the 11th of September. It's 11:30 right now. And this video is part of, I guess it's going to be a series. I don't really know yet. I haven't figured out all the details. I don't know if I want to do sit-down video styles or vlogs, or if it's going to be more like stripped down like type of video for this series. So just to get the video started, if you guys weren't aware, I think majority of you are, I've gotten DMs on Instagram just asking questions about life coaching school. I did start. I know that I mentioned it in a few videos back that it's the path that I wanted to take in my life career-wise, and I did start this past weekend. So it's currently Tuesday right now, so I started Friday night. So what is life coaching school? What is that whole idea? A life coach is basically somebody who helps others heal themselves. That's like the broadest explanation. Think of a life coach as your accountability partner. You can think of them as a mediator between you and yourself, or somebody that mirrors the rawest reflection of you and your growth. What a life coach does is basically provide you with what you need to live an abundant life. We help you get your answers that are within you. Literally what a life coach is in the title. It's a life coach. I'm coaching you to live your best life, in other words. Okay, so let's get on to, I'm just gonna take these off. I thought I needed them, but I just want to give you guys a quick explanation of why I chose life coaching as my career path. So growing up, I was always into things that were like art, things that hands-on, just things that were creative. So I was always into like baking and cooking. I was into dance and music and poetry, just things like that. With everything growing up that I loved, it was always like, I want to own my own bakery, and then once I was into makeup, I'm going to own my own, salon, I'm going to have my own makeup line, I'm going to have my own dance studio, and I'm going to run things, and I'm going to teach everybody, and blah, 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 and this and that. That's always how it's been my entire life, with everything that I've been into, because I'm very multi-passionate, and that's where I've struggled with finding that thing that's going to be that thing, my career. When I was 19, because I'm 20 now. So right after I had decided to not go to cosmetology school last year, to take the year off, I had done a lot of reflecting on my life. And as I said, I was reflecting on that path that I had been on, of just like in and out of different things that I loved, doing a lot of reflecting, and I was like, okay, like, what do I feel like I love? Like, what makes me happy? What wakes me up? And the one thing that I could think of was, well, I like to help people. I just like when I put makeup on people, women, and they turn around and they look in the mirror, they just light up. Like, I love that, I get to do that. But more than that, I just love to be able to teach them how to do it for themselves. That's what I love about YouTube, is being able to help the audience that's watching me. So I was like, okay, well, I don't see how, I had already figured out that cosmetology wasn't doing that for me. Not to the extent that I wanted. I wanted something that was more than just helping people with their makeup. So I just kept going through this thought process of like, okay, like, then what do I need? How do I make it happen where I can help people and still make a living off of that and still feed my soul? And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I can like be a teacher, because I do like school. I love helping like and teaching, so I could be a teacher. Like, one of my favorite high school teachers, I can teach like early childhood and life. And I was like, well, what do I admire so much about her? And it was like, okay, I love and admire that she wants to go in to each student that she has and reach in them and pull out their potential. Like, I just loved seeing her do that, and she did it in me. And just to reach in and pull out people's potential and help, like, help them realize that they can live an abundant life and happy life if they choose to. So I was like, okay, well, what if I become a life coach? So I had the thought, and I was like, I don't really know what I would do with that. So I remember I went and I spoke with that teacher. I visited her one day in class, and like she had recommended me to a school here in Arizona. The first night I was at Sweeha, I could tell that it was going to be transformational, and everybody's vibe there, what I like is that everybody's vibe is just like high vibe, like positive energy, just like pulsating out of everybody, which I found was too much for me. I noticed when I was like having to introduce myself, or like I went to lunch with a group of the students in class, and they're just like on these levels of just like this high vibe energy, and it was so much for me because I'm just not used to that, especially because like I spend a lot of my time alone. So just to be surrounded by these people that just like their energy is so high, it was like a little much for me. I was just like so sitting there so quiet, like I don't know how to take in all of this energy. And that's one thing that throughout this past weekend going to school that I noticed, is that I am not very good at receiving or even giving love. That's one thing that I noticed. Just the first night being there was just that vibe is so different than what I'm used to. The first night we did obviously a couple things. It was mostly just like speaking, their motivational speaking, just talking to us, explaining what it was, and all of that stuff. And then we did a few exercises where we had to like, you know, introduce ourselves to people. By the time that I left Friday night, I was on my way home driving in my car, and I was just crying. Just like something came pouring out of me on the way home, and I could not explain why that was happening. The only thing that can come to my head was, wow, like this is gonna change my life. I can tell that this is gonna change my life. Because just that one night, like I was being pushed out of my comfort zone by having to like look in people's eyes and having to introduce myself to people and talk to like somebody. We did these like 15-minute coaching sessions with each other where like we had to really talk about just things that were a little heavy on our hearts. So that's the only reason that I can come up with why I was crying that night, was that I can just tell that this is gonna change me. But anyways, that was that. Saturday was amazing. Each day was amazing. Like I feel like I learned something every day. Saturday again we did some coaching sessions. Like there's many different tools to coach somebody. Saturday again we're like partnering up and practice coaching, which is so hard for me. I have to break out of this barrier that I didn't even realize I had. I thought that I had kind of come out of my shell these past few years with being able to just talk with people, and I think that I'm fairly confident with starting conversations with people or just having a conversation with somebody. But in this life coaching class, we have to have these conversations that are very much heart conversations and not head conversations. So for me, I definitely think about everything that I'm gonna say before I say it, before I go to the store, before I get in my car and leave the house, before I enter a building. I'm like, okay, this and this and this, and if they say this, you might want to say this, or maybe this, but if they don't say that and they say this instead, say this. I had to let go a lot of that control, which I'm still struggling with, was just to let things flow and come out of you that weren't here but from here. Sunday is where the real healing started, you guys. The moment that we came in and we all sat down and they rang the gong, they said today is about healing, today is a healing day. And that scared the shit out of me, but I was like, you know what, I'm here, I can do it. There was a point in time in class that we had to get into groups, and in our groups they gave us like these cards of questions that we had to ask each other and answer. One of the things that, you know, they made us do was to take a second, just a minute, to just like silence and just to like meditate, and then to say out the first question that comes into our head. And so mine was, can I do this? So I had to tell my group why I felt that way, and for me that was really scary and vulnerable, because there was a lot that I hadn't realized was bugging me or is bugging me that hurts me. So I'm gonna show you guys. Actually, let me zoom out. When it was my turn to speak, I sat in my chair. Yes, I know this is the cutest outfit ever. Anyways, I'm in my chair. It was my turn to speak, and I spoke like this. So I'm talking to my group and I'm speaking like this. So somebody in my group stops me and she tells me this. I want to take a minute to recognize that, like, your body language. She's like, you're holding on to yourself right now. I just want you to realize that, like, you're protecting yourself, that you're like hugging yourself, like we want to hear what you have to say. So I didn't even realize I was doing that. I kind of leaned in so they can hear me because I just didn't think they could hear me over everybody else that was speaking. And being part of that is why, but also, like, I was just protecting what I had to say, because the question of can I do this had a lot of insecurity behind it, and that, like, almost brought me to tears, just because, like, somebody noticed that and they pointed it out that I was hugging myself, because what I was gonna say was, like, so personal to me that it scared me to have to, like, reveal such a, I don't want to say secret, but such a sensitive place for me. It was such a something, like, that I had never spoken to anybody, that, like, oh, I kind of don't believe in myself, so I don't know if I can do this. So we get into the end of the day and we form a circle and we're holding hands, and you know, our coaches, our instructors are telling us, you know, like, we're gonna step out of the circle that you guys are in, because we want you guys to know and to see that we are behind you in this. Whatever you need, we are here to push you, and we know that you can do it. They wanted us to, you know, hold our hearts and, you know, say what we are stepping into by joining the course. And so for me, a lot was running through my head, because being there this weekend, like, a lot of my self-doubts and things that I was like, oh, I need to work on this, is coming out. So I was like, I don't even know, like, am I stepping into believing myself? Am I stepping into my self-worth? Am I stepping into my life's purpose? Am I stepping into my career? Like, I think I'm stepping into all of this. So, like, how do I narrow it down? So the one thing that I can think of was my happiness, and I feel like my self-esteem and my self-worth and all of that is for my happiness. And then it continued on until, like, everybody in the room had, you know, I'm stepping into whatever they're stepping into. And then they had us turn to the person next to us, which happened to be the girl who pointed out that I was hugging my body. So we had to turn to that person that was next to us and you know, lock hands and just look at each other. So it was literally like this, we're looking straight at each other, and then they put on a song and they said, this is, like, literally, you're gonna listen to this and you're gonna look at this person in front of you as a mirror. And I didn't get that. They explained it. They are the true reflection of yourself. So it's like, okay. So I'm holding this girl's hands, and she actually wanted us to not hold, but just put them on top of each other so that we could feel the energy, because she practices Reiki this, and this song is playing. She's just looking at me, and I'm kind of like looking at her like, I don't connect to the song. What is this? But I'm not saying anything. I'm just like looking and like give me a half smile, and I can tell that people are starting to cry. I can hear people like sobbing, and I'm like, this, don't get emotional. I don't know why I don't let myself feel these things, but I was like, and so I can see that, you know, her cheeks were getting red and she was beginning to get emotional, and she whispers to me, I'm sorry, I can't hold it. And so she starts crying, and so then I get teary-eyed, because if you're just staring at somebody while they're crying, you know, so I'm getting a little teary-eyed, I'm getting emotional. So like, just don't cry, like, don't let go, don't release any of that. And so then finally the song ends and she's crying, and I wipe the little tears that I had, and we release, and she's like, wow, did you feel that? And I was like, that was amazing, because I could feel the heat between her hands. And then we go and we hug, and when she hugs me, she said, I could feel your hurt. I could see that. And that's when it hit me that it's literally the reflection. So I didn't realize it at the moment, but this girl that was looking into my eyes saw that I was hurting. Okay. She saw that I was hurting, and I wasn't letting that out, so she did it. What I needed is what she was doing. So then finally I'm hugging her and I start crying, and I'm like gasping for my breath because I don't cry about things very often. Then she said that you're loved, and I believe in you, and you deserve to be heard. And I just start like crying, and she's hugging me. Wow. And I had to tell her, like, you know, I've never heard anybody ever tell me that in my life, ever. So that was crazy to me that she could see that, and I don't know how. And I wish that I gave her the same like release. I don't even know, because as I said, in the moment I was like just in my head thinking like, don't break down, don't let this get to you. And then it did, and it just hit me out of nowhere. Like, I didn't expect it, but it did. And it just, like, when I was driving home thinking about what had happened, it like blew my mind that, you know, the instructors literally said you're gonna look at this person and it's gonna be the reflection of you. And it just made so much sense to me that she literally saw in my eyes that I was hurting. The reflection was like she was crying, like that was my hurt, was the crying, and that's what I needed. And just wow. So that is crazy. I didn't expect at all to cry at all this weekend. This was like the intro to the course, so it's crazy. And the one thing that I can say that I haven't said yet is that when I went into this as a career option. And it is. This is gonna be my life, you guys. I can tell you guys, I'm certain of it. And just like the past 3 days, I can already tell that it's gonna be more personal for me, because for me to be the life coach that I want to be, I have to be able to have this figured out. I have to be good here, and I'm not. And I denied that for so long. I didn't realize how much I hurt and how much I hold in and how many things affect me that I don't confront. I have to have that sorted out before I can help other people with their problems and help them in their healing. I need to be healed. From this point on, I kind of look at it as not only am I stepping into my happiness, but I'm also stepping into confronting the wounded me, which I never looked at myself as wounded. I just looked at myself as making it through, but there's a lot of wounds that need to be healed. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with school. I definitely did not expect, I didn't know what to expect at all, but I did not expect what has happened to me the last 3 days. Not even happened to me, but happened for me. Let me restate that. It felt so good to just have that release. And I can tell you guys that I wasn't done crying. I cried for another like hour and a half. on my drive home, I had to sit in my car and cry because just like the release and just realizing so much in my head that I've just like built up of how I feel on certain things and things that hurt me and people and situations. So I feel good. I'm scared. I'm definitely being pushed out of my comfort zone, which, you know, I didn't realize I had one because I stayed in it all the time. But, yeah, so that's where I'm gonna leave this video. Again, I don't, as I said, I don't know how this is gonna go. If it's gonna be like vlog style, if maybe I should do lesson learned in each, like, I don't really know, or just sit down. It's like, we will see. I'll figure it out as I go along. But anyways, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support. If you guys are into helping people, or even on the entrepreneurial side, look into life coaching, especially if it's for your like personal reasons. Just those 3 days really opened up my mind to a lot that's going on in my heart that I just wasn't seeing, or I was ignoring. Yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.